My name's Akash, and I'm a 22-year-old filmmaker currently living in Regent Park. This is my father, Adrian Jones. He grew up in Regent Park, and he decided to purchase a condo here, and that's where I've been living for the past 4 years while going to university. I think it's really cool that my dad grew up here and this was kind of his community, and now I'm here and I've been here for 4 years, so it's become my community as well. Today I sat down with him to discuss what he remembers, his opinions on how the place has changed, and just talk about Regent Park. This is what he had to say.
I wanted to first thank my mom for, her tireless work and her selflessness in what she's accomplished in order to get all of us and my siblings here. When I came to Canada as a 9-year-old, a lot of teachers connected with me, and I've used them as role models, and I thought since they connected with me, I wanted to do the same for others. Especially impoverished kids. That's where I work. The neighborhood I work in is, the kids are really needy, and that's where I've been working my whole career. Back then in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, Regent Park was tough. It was hard to try to get jobs. I delivered newspapers, I sold ice cream for Dickie D in those pedal carts, which was kind of fun. I worked at the community center. I worked at the wading pools. I worked in Parks and Rec. When we came, we were living in South Regent, 14 Blevins Place. Obviously, that place was not big enough for a family of 8. So eventually, we moved to North Regent, to 431 Gerrard, which is still there now. That had another bedroom. So now there were 2 boys in one bedroom and 2 boys in another bedroom. And the 3 girls still had to share, and my mom had a room. So that was a 4-bedroom townhouse, which gave us a lot more space. We had a backyard, we had a front yard, so it was a lot more comfortable. Moving to North Regent was pretty good. I still had to walk to school, but growing up back then, it's a lot different now. The community is more mixed. Instead of just having people from low income, impoverished, living there, you didn't get any really role models to see, nobody dressing up in their suits to go to work, and so give you something to strive for. Most of the parents were at home still. And mind you, there are not a lot of dads around, so it was just moms, and most of the time the moms were working at night, so the kids had all day, and sometimes even at nighttime or late to just have their own things to do, entertain yourself. As a family, we kept very busy. We rode our bikes, we played until dark. So athletics was really important. We had sports, we had competition, and being active was a way to stay safe. And it was also a way to try to get a better education, because getting scholarships was kind of the goal for a lot of us kids. I mind you, the kids nowadays, they don't have that drive to say, I want to play sports, but education is a lot more accessible now for these kids, I find. Right, growing up in Regent Park was a lot of fun. It's kind of cool that I went sledding in Riverdale, the Riverdale Park, and then my son goes sledding there too. It's just kind of cool. We thought the area was always well located, centrally located. My son went to Ryerson, and we thought it would be a great spot to go to Ryerson from. Our initial thinking was we wanted to move back downtown to retire. When we retire, we'd live downtown. So we bought a place thinking Akash could live there and go to school. And when he was finished school, eventually, since he's in the film industry, he'd be close to all the companies that are working, and it'd be a nice place for him to live, and commute would be short. So the planning was we would retire here, but in the meantime, it would be a nice place for Akash to live, go to school, and then eventually work from. The location is excellent. I had a lot of fun growing up here, and we thought it would be great for him to experience. And I think he is having a good time here. Well, the gentrification of Regent Park is interesting because they've changed it. You have buildings that are sold for market value, like the building that I bought in, which is right across from the school. We can actually see it. but some buildings, the whole building is geared towards income. So it is still kind of a separation, whereas instead of being in a building that's mixed, you have whole townhome complexes that are just rent to own, not rent to own, rent geared to income, and you have other townhomes that are bought for purchase. So there's still a little bit of separation, but I think it's still good because you can still mingle with the different people in the community. So it was kind of cool the fact that I was able to buy here growing up, and now my son lives here, which is, it's very cool. And I thought, as a way of showing support for the community, I thought it would be a good idea to actually own and have my son live here. And the location is great because it's so close to everything. The location in Toronto is very good. So the location of the condo, which is 200 Sackville, right across from it was 203 Sackville. That's where there was a small community center there. Now they've built a nice state-of-the-art community center just south here on Sackville. And when I was growing up, there was one pool. It was an outdoor pool. The hours were, regular hours, but when it got really hot, it wasn't open. So kids would jump the fence, and one child jumped off the lifeguard thing and hurt himself. So improvements are now that when it gets really hot, they have extended hours. So they've done some accommodations to suit the kids that are living here. But transportation has improved. Now, in the past, when things happened and the police the streets used to be really cut off, so there was no thoroughfare going from Sackville. Didn't run all the way through Regent Park. It was cut off, so that made it kind of like a maze, and that kind of helped crime happen. So when somebody committed a crime, they'd be able to get away because then the police couldn't really follow and get to them. But now they've opened up all the streets. It's more well designed, and it's a better place to live because you have better access. Now there's a grocery store close by. Before, we used to have to go for long drives to go to get groceries. I remember my mom, we would drive to Nabil Farms, which was at Lansdowne and Dundas. It'd be a family trip. She would pack us all in her station wagon. We'd all go into the grocery store, and it was almost like a vacation for us. We'd go in there. My brothers would kind of, they're not supposed to do this, but they'd open up food and eat it. But it was like another sign of, not having a lot, because, there were 7 of us to feed. So my mom would just buy what we needed, and we kind of went crazy inside the grocery stores. But now there's a grocery store close by right at Parliament and Dundas. So more, the Olympic pool is here. The community center is so big and great. There's a library close by, so lots of improvements, and it made it more accessible to everybody.
As you heard my dad mention, he had a lot of siblings. This is my Uncle Colin. I thought it would be nice to sit him down with my dad and get his opinion on their upbringing, Regent Park as a whole, and how it's changed.
I remember when we were supposed to, Mom told us, "Hey guys, guess what? We're moving." Right?
From the building.
So we move. I'm saying, yes, we're getting out of Regent Park. Guess what? We moved from 42 Blevins Place to 431 Gerrard Street, North Regent.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that made me even more angry, because as a kid, I was a very angry person because I felt our family deserved better, deserved more. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else and grow up anywhere else but Regent Park, because Regent Park made us who we are today, right? Made us strong, made us know our drive and what we want to do and what we want to, become. Well, I would say give Regent Park a chance, because a lot of good things came out of Regent Park. And if you are a good person and you have that stigma about Regent Park, then come into Regent Park and do something. Change it if you want to see change. I mean, my brother, like I said, was the first one to come back to Regent Park and teach. He wasn't afraid of Regent Park because he knew what Regent Park was like. But I bet you any money he took the experience that he experienced in Regent Park, went outside of Regent Park and changed other people's lives with his ideas, his kindness, and his love that he has, and changed other people's lives and changed kids' lives. So I'm saying to those on the outside, come in and make a change. If you think Regent Park is bad and you're good and you could do something, come in and make a change.
Yeah,
right?
I would say the same thing. Come and do something. It's that stigma that creates that barrier for everybody.
Yeah.
If you got to change your mindset in order for good things to happen, because lots of positive things are happening in Regent Park,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are not willing to see it, or they don't think that it can happen. But they just have to come.
Even when trying to make the best out of a situation, my father's mother did not have enough money to support them, and one day he came home to something he did not expect.
All right, so after first year university, 18 or 19 years old, success, got some good marks, coming home. Then I see at 431 Gerard, there's an eviction notice on the door. My brother Colin is there. He's telling me what happened. I don't want to go into details, but everything was locked away, but we were able to get in the house with garbage bags and basically take out everything we needed. And for that moment, you're like, where do you go? The feeling of being homeless. Never expected to experience that. And I don't know, when you're 18, you're not thinking about starting a family or kids. But if you do have a family, you never want your children to feel that way. So I got 2 plastic bags, filled it with everything I needed. At the time, I think I had a girlfriend. So called her up, ended up going to live with her and her mom. My brothers went their separate ways. I don't know where they went. So just being homeless for that short period of time was a horrible feeling. And I'm just thinking about my son now. When I was 18, homeless, when my son was 17, he started living in this condo in downtown Toronto. So that's a drastic change. When I grew up, I didn't have my dad around. My dad wasn't there to teach me how to become a good father. But I knew what I missed. And I thought about all the things that I would be able to give my kids that I didn't have, and have a good. I told my kids, you can become whatever you want. You get an education, and there'll always be some place for you to come back to.
And that couldn't be more true. One of the things I admire the most about my father is that not only was he able to provide a better life for his children than the one he had, but for one of them, he was able to do it right here in the heart of Regent Park, where he grew up. I think it's really cool that everything my dad grew up around is right around me. The school he went to is right across the street. The house that he lived in is just a walk away, and like he mentioned, the hill he used to sled on is one that I'm at now all the time. And I think my dad has some very fond memories attached to Regent Park, and it would have been very easy to just run away and start a new life, build a family somewhere else, but he actually brought me back here. So I'm very grateful to be here, and Regent Park has become my second home, and it's really nice to live here and just kind of connect with my dad in that way, and knowing that all these things around me are what he was around growing up. And even though the community has changed a lot from when he was living here, I think the actual values and people, they've stayed, and it's a really nice community to be in, and I honestly can't imagine spending my last 4 years anywhere else.